What I'm going to explain to you guys today is about how to use the mics and how to set them up in proper ways so we could use them longer. So, okay, so we have 3 kinds of mics here that we use on the stage. And this is mainly used as a leader's mic, which needs phantom power. And this one is just a regular mic that you guys see. This doesn't need extra power, but you guys could just plug it in. And this mic we usually use on instruments. And this is a mic that we also use on drums, on overheads, and choir. And this is pretty expensive, but we've been using it pretty harshly, so it's a bit damaged. But this needs a phantom power also, and it's set up with this plastic. And there's a part where you could, where you could lock and put into positions. Yeah.
In reference to this mic, I was talking to Tami. A couple of things is that, first of all, the side that's recording, or the side that we want to face towards the sound, is the light color. So if it's overhead, you want it to be like this, not like that. And the other thing is that when moving this, if you come to help someone move this particular mic, please remove it from the stand first. Disengage the wire out of the back, which is just the push button, and then the unlock, and take it off and put it down on the floor or someplace safe where it will not fall. Because we've seen this happen before, where one person disengages the wire and kind of unlocks it and then leaves it there, and then the next person comes over and tips it, and then boom. And so, so we don't want to do that. So just take it out, place it on the floor, and that would be good. And then the other mic that you probably will not see, but if one day you are helping out between the first and second service, is this little guy. This is not ours, okay? We have 2 of these. They're very expensive. So if you do see these, please be careful with them, okay? They're used for the choir mics, and somebody had loaned them to us. And so, so just handle these babies with care, okay? That's all I can tell you. They're the most expensive mic we have. So, and back to Tami.
Next, what I'm going to show you is the DI boxes that we use. And these are the 2 kinds that we mainly use. And this, we use it on the keyboards. And this one, we use it on the guitars. So if you see this one that we use on the keyboard, there are buttons, plastic ones that you could press. And these should be open all the time, or they usually make a buzzing sound going onto the speaker. So yeah, if it's pressed, the red light is on, so make sure it's always open. You see, there are 4 different plugins. There is input and output, but what you want to do is the wires with 2 round bands on it. So plug it into the input. And the other side should be going into the keyboard. Yep. And there's 2 parts that you could also put places on. There's ones on the wall next to the drums, and there's ones on the stage. And for keyboards, we usually use left and right, both sides. So for one keyboard, we use 2 channels. So make sure they're not switched off. And for the wires, okay, this, when you guys are all helping out, usually there are times they're really tangled. And when you pull it back out, they have a lot of knots on it. Okay, this, like this. Proper way to wire them is, actually, I make mistakes too, so just in case. So you hold with your left hand, and with your right, you wind it up. There are people who do this, but it will damage the wires inside. They're really thin, and they're all... So you're not twisting it while you're winding it up. You're just... you have to see how the flow goes. So when... So when you're doing this, you're moving your hand inside like this. Like that. And it just goes up. So natural bend. Oh, singled. That. Oh, the thumb. That. And this. Ta-da! So when you guys don't have this, sometimes we just tie it up with a longer side of the cord. But it's not really, and it might damage it. So try to look for this. And there are two kinds of wires that look like this. There are ones with one black band and there's one with two. This is called mono. The ones with one band is usually used on guitars, and the ones with two, we use it on keyboards. And for the mic stands, the reason why we bought so many of them is a lot of them were damaged because we were forcing it to move it. Whenever you guys are moving this, you have to open it up and make sure it could be moved on its own and not forced, so that it won't be damaged. You know that on the pink boxes, I usually put DI boxes and mics for the overhead. There are DI boxes in here and some wire straps that we could use. And some of the mics we don't use, but we keep it in here too. And we have 3 of these, and one
acoustic.
Yeah, one acoustic. So
Yeah.
it goes in here like this. For the first service, we usually use the long ones because choir and chamber and orchestra, and we also do something called ambience. So it's for like live music recording. So that's what we do usually on first service. We don't really do it much on second and third because we usually run out of the wires.
Yeah, one thing I did want to say in reference to, thank you so much, Tami, is guys with the stands too, when you do put them away, Tami did say, loosen them, but you don't have to, and then you take it back there and it's falling apart like that. Because honestly, there's been times I pull the stands out and they're falling apart because you got the knobs all the way screwed out. Just loosen them enough and then just kind of put them back, just finger tight, just so that it keeps them together. Anyhow, so that's just one thing. Also, be careful with your backs because, for example, if you pick this mic stand up, this one is hollow. These bars are all hollow, so it's very light. You pick one of these babies up, and you're going to be going. You'll go like this. You're going to, because it's solid, so it's really heavy. So just be careful. But this one here, this is another thing that Tami was also talking about. Now I can't. This one is not. This one's pretty good, but she talked about loosening them. They had this up like this, and people would take them and just pull it like this. So you'll look at some of these are already bent from just people going like this. And one thing I see some people do is they push it like this and fold it up. Okay? You want the mic part always to be up because see this extra distance here? It won't fit in our cabinet. So you have to put it like this. Just watch your fingers. Don't pinch yourself because it hurts when you drop it. Yeah, so be careful. Okay? That's just a couple things I noticed. Other than that, make sure they have our names on them. We're getting new ones, so we're going to put our stickers on them. We're going to try to put silver stickers on all of them. When we get done using music stands, if you can lower them down, they last a lot longer that way. Because a lot of people, they're like really high. Now I know you'll find them over there raised all the way up, but for us, let's lower them down, because when they fall over, the higher they are, the more chances are they're going to break off, and they break off right here in the back. So what you do is just loosen the handle and lower it down to at least a low enough setting that's, doesn't have to be all the way down. That'll just make our stands last a lot longer.
I have set number 6 as a leader's mic because it's in the middle of the stage. And if you look on the soundboard, what I've done is from 1, it's singers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 6 leader's mic, and 7 is acoustic, or usually the leader's instrument. And 8, 9 is also leader's instrument when they're playing keyboards. So when we used to have Hyunguk, he would usually play keyboards. So I left those channels for the keyboard. And so after the leader and the leader's instruments, usually comes the singer. So
10, 11, 12.
yeah, 10, 11, 12 will be singers.
5.
And
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will be singers. But we usually have many channels left over because the most will be like 5 singers going at once. So we would usually have 1, 2, 3, and 12 left. And sometimes they're used as for instruments, for like extra keyboard 1 and 2, or sometimes violin going 12. Yeah. As long as they're next to each other, because for people who are engineering, we want to have the channels all in the same line, so we don't need to like switch around because it's kind of 헷갈려.
Just something I thought about. Don't freak out if you can't find the matching set. It's good to have a matching set, but it will work either way. So because we're using the stereo, we're using 2 single channels to make the stereo sound. In other words, you got 2 of these coming out of the keyboard, going into one of the DI boxes, and then 2 wires coming out. So you're using single channels. So it's still okay to use either one of these. The only time that if you're going to use this only one wire for stereo, like you're coming out of the headphone and then going in and splitting, that would be the time you'd need to have a stereo wire. So just so you know.
So this mic is for stereo. Like this. It usually goes like this. And for toms, over here, going like this. And the floor tom, also, yeah, in this angle, like that, over there. And overheads go over here, usually up here. Going from this side and that side, like that. When we're going from first service to second service, the overhead mics are already set on the choir side. So all you need to do is just plug it out and bring it to the drum side and just set it up. Yep.
I see this happen on Sundays. The floor out there is very hard. So that it's fine out here when you take your wires and you throw it like that, it's not a problem on the carpet. But if you do that with these, on the hard surfaces, they get dented, and then you can't push it. It doesn't fit on the microphones, or it causes problems. So just be aware of that. So out here, be careful not to throw the wire down if you're going to do it. And then, we'll have to practice that rolling. We'll get, Tami will do another special on just rolling the wire so that you get the feel for it. Because even I'm kind of like, how does it go? I know that it's supposed to be when you get done, and it shouldn't be as complicated as I'm making it, but basically when you get done, you should be able to take the wire and should be able to throw it out, and it shouldn't be tangled up. See, there's no knots in it, and that's the way it should be. I see so many times people going like this, trying to pull it out. Please, if you do find one that has a tangle in it, okay, even if it's got a knot in it, don't pull it, just leave it for later. Okay, because if you pull it, anytime you pull it, you'll notice what's happening is, see like this loop here? This is happening because our wires are not being tied right. And eventually they will stand up like this, and then what happens? You go, you know, and that's going to make it difficult for people to walk around. They should lay flat, just like that. So, yeah.